The preacher's daughter lies between two massive cowboys, their hands claiming every inch of her trembling body. Outside, her father sleeps, unaware his innocent girl is being transformed into their shared wife. One forbidden night will change everything forever. The wagon wheels creaked to a halt in front of the newly built church. Josephine Bennett took her father's hand, her cream-colored dress clinging to her frame. At 18, she had never seen anything like this wild frontier town. Everything had been orderly and proper back in Boston. Here, the very air crackled with something dangerous and untamed. Then she saw them. Two figures standing in shadow 7 feet tall, broad-shouldered, their bodies hewn from solid muscle. The Brennan twins, Wyatt and Wade. Men who made even hardened cowboys step aside when they walked down the street. One of them tipped his hat. The gesture felt like a challenge, like a claim. Josephine stood frozen, unable to tear her gaze away from the two giants watching her with an intensity that made her skin flush hot. The other twin smiled, not kind, but predatory. Josephine felt something twist low in her belly, something she had been taught to suppress and pray away. That night, she lay in her narrow bed behind the church, unable to banish images of those two men. Heavy footsteps passed by her window and stopped. A low voice, barely audible, "She's perfect." Another voice, identical, "She doesn't know it yet. She will." The next morning, Josephine was alone in the church, scrubbing floors, when a shadow fell across the boards. They stood in the doorway, so tall they had to duck to enter. The door swung shut behind them, the latch clicking into place. "Josephine." Wyatt's voice was deep, rough like gravel. He extended his hand, pulling her to her feet effortlessly. Wade's hands landed on her shoulders from behind. She was trapped between them, their heat surrounding her. "You should not be here," she whispered. "And yet here we are," Wade murmured. "Rules are different out here." Wyatt's thumb traced her jawline. "We knew the moment we saw you. Knew you were ours. I belong to no man." "Not yet," Wyatt said. "But you will, Josephine. You'll belong to both of us." His face lowered toward hers. This was sin. This was damnation. But her eyes fluttered closed. Then they released her. "Soon," Wyatt promised. "Very soon, we'll come for you. And you'll come with us. Once we get you alone and willing, we'll show you every single thing your daddy never told you about." Sunday arrived with brutal sunshine. The twins walked into church and took the front pew beside Josephine. She was wedged between them, their heat radiating, their presence overwhelming. Wyatt took her hand, his thumb stroking her knuckles. Wade's hand dropped to her shoulder. She was being claimed publicly while her father preached about sin and temptation. After the service, Wyatt extended an invitation. "We're having a gathering at our ranch next Saturday. We'd be honored if you and Miss Josephine would attend." Her father beamed. This was acceptance into the community. "The ranch is a fair distance," Wade added. "You might want to plan on staying the night." Josephine's heart stopped. 1 week. Then she would be at their mercy, miles from town, miles from safety. Saturday came too quickly. The Brennan ranch was sprawling, set against red cliffs. Wyatt and Wade stood waiting on the porch like gods backlit by the sun. Wyatt helped Josephine down from the wagon, his fingers closing around hers. "Welcome," he murmured, his eyes full of dark promise. "Tonight, you're ours." During lunch, Josephine sat between them while her father talked obliviously. Under the table, she felt their feet sliding along her calves, trapping her between them. By the time the meal ended, she was trembling with need and frustration. Wade led her to the garden and pulled her into his arms. "Did you like it when Wyatt kissed you?" "Yes," she whispered. "Good, because I intend to kiss you too." His mouth claimed hers, slow and coaxing where Wyatt had been demanding. When he pulled back, he murmured against her temple, "Both of us will have you tonight. Wyatt will take you first, he's less patient. But then you'll come to me, and I'll be gentle." The evening gathering filled the house with people, music, and laughter. Josephine tried to focus, but her awareness was consumed by the twins moving through the crowd, their eyes constantly tracking her. Wyatt pulled her into a dance, pressing her body indecently close. "Feel how well we fit," he murmured. "Imagine this later in my bed, with nothing between us." Then Wade took his turn, holding her gently. "Stop thinking about should," he whispered. "Just feel." When her father retired for the night, Josephine stood on the porch under impossibly bright stars. The twins appeared, flanking her. "It's time," Wyatt said simply. They led her to the original ranch house. Inside was one large room dominated by an enormous bed. Wyatt looked at her seriously. "Last chance, Josephine. Tell us no and we'll walk you back." Josephine reached up and began unpinning her hair. "Help me," she whispered. What followed was hours of overwhelming sensation, 4 hands exploring her body, 2 mouths claiming her, 2 massive frames surrounding her completely. Wyatt took her first, powerful and demanding, breaking through her innocence with careful intensity. Then Wade, gentle and coaxing, showing her that pleasure could be slow and sweet. She was caught between them, filled and possessed and utterly consumed. She belonged to them now, marked inside and out. "You're ours now, Josephine," Wyatt said as sleep claimed her. "Completely ours. We're going to marry you. Make it legal. No one will ever take you from us." Morning came with coffee and breakfast in bed. Wyatt's expression turned serious. "We want to marry you, both of us. Legally, you can only marry one of us. But in every way that matters, you'll be wife to both." "My father will never allow it," Josephine said weakly. "Your father doesn't get a say. After last night, if you go back to Boston, you're ruined anyway. But if you marry me, having the Brennan twins as family will help his mission here." Josephine looked between them. "Yes. I'll stay. I'll marry you, both of you." They told her father that Wyatt had courted her, that she'd fallen in love. Reverend Bennett was surprised but gave his blessing. God works in mysterious ways. The wedding was simple and beautiful. Josephine walked down the aisle toward Wyatt, with Wade standing as best man. When Wyatt kissed her to seal their vows, his eyes promised far more for later. That night, they showed her exactly what a wedding night should be like, with 2 devoted husbands determined to pleasure their wife. The weeks turned to months. Josephine's belly began to round with child, whether Wyatt's or Wade's, it didn't matter. The baby would belong to all of them. The ranch prospered. The church her father built became a centerpiece of the community. And Josephine Brennan became known throughout the territory as a woman of strength and grace and surprising steel. She never regretted her choice. Every night she went to bed between 2 men who loved her completely. Every morning she woke safe and cherished. Years later, when her daughter asked about love and marriage, Josephine told her the truth, that sometimes love doesn't follow the rules. That sometimes the right choice is the one everyone else says is wrong. That if you're very brave and very lucky, you find not just one person to love, but the perfect match for your soul, however unconventional. And that happiness, real, deep, lasting happiness, is worth any scandal, any judgment, any risk. That was the real inheritance Josephine passed down, not propriety or convention, but authenticity and courage, and the knowledge that love, in whatever form it takes, is always worth fighting for. Always.